Hi, Dean John. Good evening. Welcome on board.
Yeah, good evening, Ahmed. Glad to be on the show once again.
Welcome to the match preview. Manchester United against Manchester City, the Manchester Derby on Sunday at Old Trafford. So, what are you expecting? What do you expect? What possible lineup are you expecting? What change do you expect from Ruben Amorim's side with what you saw against Nottingham Forest? What change are you expecting against Manchester City?
First of all, my expectation for the game or for the Manchester Derby, let me say. Like I say, for Manchester United being my team, I think I would say I have mixed feelings because looking at the last game against Nottingham Forest, the attack was, really shambolic, and despite the large number of attempts, we could see that Manchester United still lost that game a goal to nil. So I don't really have much expectations for the game, even though we know that yes, Manchester United tend to perform against the top sides and all, but
That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to tell you that Ruben Amorim has played well against the big sides. He played well against Liverpool at Anfield, and it's not that he defends too much against the big side. Like he goes after them, like so with them. Yeah, let's play. He has a way of approaching big games, and that's worked out. So I think that should be a positive for you. That should give you a little bit of confidence going into the Manchester Derby. I'm just saying.
But let's not also forget that, like you rightly pointed out, the match is at Old Trafford, and looking at Manchester United record at Old Trafford, it has not really been encouraging in the course of this season. So that's one factor I also considered when I said I just have a little bit of mixed feelings. Of course, I actually want the team to get the 3 points, and at least boost their position in the Premier League table. But not to put too much expectations, and not to have too much expectations. I'm just trying to be modest by saying mixed feelings. That is to say, it's possible maybe it's the Manchester United team could actually win this game, draw, and the worst case scenario being a loss. So also in addition to the question you asked, in terms of the lineup now with respect to the players for that particular game. I think in the defense, there's a possibility, for a change because looking at Ruben's press conference today, I think De Ligt has a minor issue. So I think there's a possibility that he may not play that match on Sunday, even though they are still trying to assess the player to see if he's going to be match fit. So I think in that aspect, with respect to defense, if De Ligt is not fit for the game, of course Harry Maguire will replace him in the starting lineup. As for the midfield and the attack, I feel maybe in the attack they may be a little tweak. Maybe this time, maybe Højlund may start ahead of Zexi. But I expect Garnacho to still play this Manchester Derby game, despite his
performance against Nottingham Forest, shooting anyhow.
Yes, and I say this because with Garnacho playing taking one of the wings, it helps to keep Manchester City defenders or side backs as well as their wingers in check. I don't know the position he might be playing, but we all know that if for Manchester City, most of the times their side backs are mostly Rico Lewis and Josko Vardy. Yes, so I feel because of the threat Garnacho has going forward, his pace and being this kind of player that is direct and has this burst of energy. It will tend to keep either of these players in check, as well as even the winger, the corresponding winger in that particular position, be it maybe Savinho or whosoever Pep will be using in that particular game. Those wingers to also want to try and support their defenders to ensure that Manchester United don't have a goal, a crack at them. But I think if there is an expectation I also have in the course of this game, I'm also trying to see how Patrick Dogu will actually perform. In terms of his speed now, he's this kind of player that with his speed, can really cause problems. And I just hope that there's a way Ruben can actually exploit this to his own advantage. Of course, we know he's still a work in progress because his ball delivery, are not really that fantastic. But when it comes to that speed, when it comes to that quickness in trying to enter into the opposition's box and all, I think he has that. So I hope Ruben will be able to exploit that and maybe possibly use that to his advantage to win the game.
But you know that if Ruben wins this game, this will be his third win against Guardiola this season, right? Do you know that? He defeated him at Sporting, beat him at 30th.
Yes.
Now this.
It will actually it will actually be a good boost to him. Mind you, Guardiola is not the only one that has actually been defeated by Ruben. He has also defeated Mikel Arteta too, who is also a good coach. Even though I think Arteta has gotten one back at him, but for the fact that he has defeated Mikel Arteta, actually still also speak volumes that he can always no matter
not in the league or 90 minutes game. But
in the 90 minutes game, the thing is that the match can go either way. But for the fact, for a team that is not really that consistent, for a team that is not really that performing, for a team that is not really performing well, to still hold its ground in the course of a 90 minutes game, and force a win through a penalty is still actually an achievement, because a lot of things can actually go wrong in 90 minutes. Even legendary managers, have also had their fair share of brutal defeats in the course of 90 minutes. So a lot, like I said, a lot can really happen in 90 minutes. So irrespective of how the game is being won, I think to most coaches and to most football teams, the win is always a win. So I think that's what really matters the most.
But the way you are sounding, you don't sound confident going to the derby game. It's as if you are not expecting Manchester United to go and dominate and win Manchester City. Despite the fact that we know that Manchester City are not in good form this season. This season's Manchester City is not the Manchester City of the past. I believe you know that. So,
of course,
why are you sounding like this? Like you're sounding like a pessimist. If I'm allowed to use that, you're sounding like a pessimist. I have this feeling that Manchester United will win.
You're allowed to use that because I think I can understand what you actually mean. So that's fine. But mind you, Manchester United this season, like I've always said in the course of our sessions, there's this team that take a step forward and two steps back. So it's really been this kind of season for Manchester United. So I think for just not to have too much expectations, just to be open-minded, it's why I actually sound the way I'm sounding this evening. It's not really a crime for the team to go to Old Trafford and play a good game, or surprise some of us.
You know what's surprising me? Manchester United is struggling to get 40 points. Playing like a relegation team.
I think that's one side of this season for Manchester United, so far. But let me also give you another statistics. Okay. Ruben also have just 22 points in 57 games.
22 points in what?
That's 22 points out of 57. Rather, 22 points out of 57.
Wow.
So that tells you that, so that is to say 19 games, which is equivalent to 57 points. I think he has just managed, 22 points. Of course, let's just take that, maybe with wins alone. I think that would be equivalent to maybe 7 wins, 1 draw. I know it may be more than that, but I'm just only using the win aspect now. So that is to say, if we're just to look at it from that context, out of 19 games, maybe just 7 wins and a draw, and we have about 11 losses there. So 33 points is a whole lot. So
that's bad. That's bad.
You can agree with me that or you can share my concerns why I'm not really a bit optimistic and confident.
I get where you're coming from now. I get it. So do you have any possible outcome? Can you predict any score line? Do you have anything?
Well, of course, no matter, despite the fact that I may sound like I'm not really confident. I support Manchester United, so of course, even if I'm to give a prediction, I always want to give a prediction, in favor of Manchester United, even though, like I said, I'm not really sounding confident, and all. But if I'm to give a prediction, I think 2-1 will be actually a fair result because, of course, we all know Manchester United, just have this knack for always conceding goals. So I feel worst case scenario,
Why? Because you have Onana in the post. Onana can't save you guys. I want him gone end of this season. I want him sold.
I think I was reading, a report where, there's a possibility of Onana being sold, in the summer. And, there's a rumor going on that, the club are thinking of resigning David De Gea back. So that's just a rumor. But, let's...
Okay, you said Manchester United can end up winning 2-1.
Yes, I said 2-1. Mm-hmm. So like a prediction, 2-1.
Okay, let's see how it goes. Thank you very much for joining me, John. I'll see you on Sunday after the game.
All right, and I hope we'll have a positive thing to talk about on Sunday as well.
I hope so.
All right, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Good night.